You got a flag in your...
Okay, we're live, Dave.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Cook County Board of Commissioners to order on this Tuesday, November 25th at 8:31 a.m. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that's a little delay there.
We'll try not to sing in any rounds. Let's see, any adjustments to the agenda?
I don't believe so. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none. Take a roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
White, aye.
Mills, aye. Commissioner Starley is absent. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And before we get any further in the meeting, I just want to point out that obviously I am remote. Commissioner Starley is not able to join us this morning. And I just wanted to talk about some changes to the open meeting law, which enables us to do this in July. I believe the legislature passed legislation to allow for this. And just as a summary, public bodies can hold the meetings where some members attend remotely. At least one member must be physically in the meeting room. Remote members count as present for quorum and voting. Remote member can chair the meeting, so here we are. Meeting notice requirements are much simpler. Just list the meeting location and say that some members may be remote. And then for this to be legal, we all have to be able to see and hear each other. And everyone in the public at the meeting must be able to see and hear all discussion, testimony, and votes. And then the remote participation must be clearly recorded in the minutes. And we do have to do a roll call vote. So that's a little cumbersome, but it's wonderful to have this opportunity and flexibility, and very, very happy for it. So, anyone have any questions about that?
Commissioner Mills,
Yeah.
this is Jean. I apologize. The one additional piece to that requirement is to state a reason for the virtual appearance.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, so I am virtual because I am traveling for the holiday family. Similarly with Commissioner Storley, weather-related travel, I believe, is kind of the issue there. And so if there are other members of the board who have family gatherings or any other needs to be remote, I would encourage that. So far, so great, but appreciate that, Gene. Anything else? All right. Next item is public comment period. This is an opportunity for citizens to come before the board and to give comment on any issues in the agenda or off of it. Other members in the public in the room?
Commissioner Mills, we have no members of the public in the room.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on then to the consent agenda. Pretty long.
Mr. Chair, I do
Yes.
have a public comment that was requested to be read.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Commissioner Danielle. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so this public comment is coming from Paul Coe, who lives at 903 West 2nd Street in Grand Marais, Minnesota. And he's responding to our budget discussion as to options that might reduce the levy. And so he refers to levy option 2, which results in a 7.57% increase. However, To reduce the levy to 7.5%, he says, you are using $1,600,000 of fund balance and $384,328, the remainder of the American Rescue Plan Act in response to COVID funds, the ARPA funds, which totals $1,984,328. Adding $1,984,328 to the proposed levy of $13,780,236 equals $15,764,564, which is equivalent to a levy increase of approximately 21%. According to the 2024 audit, it looks like there is $3,965,000 of fund balance over and above the 75% required, of which $1,600,000 is being used this year to reduce levy. ARPA money is gone, and you are rapidly depleting the excess fund balance. The rate of growth of spending is not sustainable. You can't keep kicking the can down the road. Sincerely, Paul Cole.
Thank you, Commissioner Gamble, and thank you, Mr. Cole, for sending in your comment, and you have very strong points there. I think it's important to keep an eye on our future and our current state, and we've got to come up with a more sustainable plan. All right, any other comments that commissioners received that should be read?
I did not receive any, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then we'll move on to the consent agenda, which, as I was saying, is really lengthy today. I'll go through it here. We have claims, the minutes, Gunflint Mail Run Special Road Use Permit, final pay request for the Spruce Creek Bridge, authorization to purchase a steamer jetter unit, approve the hire of Danielle Hefferan as Public Information Coordinator, approve the hire of Amaris Fischer as the Family Service Case Manager, approve the promotion of Ben Hallberg as Chief Deputy/Investigator, appoint Ann Graybeal to the Cook County Extension Committee, and then appoint Kelsey Rogers-Kennedy to the Cook County Extension Committee. Is there any item on the consent agenda a commissioner would like to hold to discuss further?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Gamble, I'd like to pull item H, please.
Item H is the promotion of Ben Hallberg as Chief Deputy Investigator, and we'll move that. See, maybe Human Resources is, or we could do it under Sheriff. Pat, do you have a preference there?
But I'm sorry, what's that?
Oh, would you like, yeah, we're going to move item H, which is the promotion of Ben Hallberg as the Chief Deputy/Investigator, and we can either put it under your item number 5, or we can put it down to Human Resources, item 8.
I guess I need to know the reason why it's being pulled.
So my question pertains to where Bennett would be with the addition of, it's going to be a pay question, so whether you want to take that or Human Resources.
Okay, we'll move that to Human Resources if it's a pay question.
Yeah.
Commissioner Mills?
Does that sound okay?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, please.
I would like to pull F, approve the hire as Public Information Coordinator for further discussion.
We'll put,
Just
okay,
one more
we'll
time.
put item F under Human Resources as well. Any other items?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the 2 items pulled.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion and support. Any further discussion there? Hearing or seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
White, aye.
Mills, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And now we have our 9 a.m. public comment, which is a bit early. So we'll skip over that, and we're going to have to also skip over item 5 because it's related to our public comment, and move on to the recorder. So item 6A is set a date for the public hearing to consider new fee and fee changes.
Madam Chair, she's not here, but I can answer that. So the recorder is asking to set 2 new fees, one for judicial security and to change their IDOC fees, and they'd like to have this happen before the first of the year, so they go in effect in January. So this is just a request to set the date for that public hearing. The earliest date we could set it with the notice period is for the next, the 16th of December. So we'd ask to set it for the 16th of December and 10:30 or the closest to the start of the meeting. I think it starts at 10:30 on the 16th. Yeah. So maybe make it a little bit later, 8:45 or whatever your preference is.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, based on this, I would suggest 10:45, but yes, please, Commissioner Gamble, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to set the date for December 16th at 10:45 a.m. for a public hearing to consider setting fees for judicial security registration and changes to the IDOC market fees.
Support.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion and support. Any further discussion there? Hearing or seeing none, we'll do the roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
White, aye.
Mills, aye, and that is an approval by unanimous vote there. Thank you very much. Let's move down to item 7A, Land Services, updated Schroeder Township sub-area plan.
Good morning, Commissioners and Commissioner Mills. The item I have for you today is a proposed update to the Schroeder sub-area plan. As you know, Cook County has a land use guide plan, and the 3 townships in the county, Lutzen, Schroeder, and Tofte, each have sub-area plans that identify localized priorities for development in their futures. Schroeder Township began a process in January this year to convene a land use committee, which involved the township supervisors as well as some citizens and myself and a member from Minnesota Power to review the old Schroeder sub-area plan and do a revamp of it. It was a process that involved almost monthly meetings since January, and we have worked diligently to bring this update to you. The relevant updates in this plan include a much better structure to the location-specific priorities. So they pull out specific areas of Schroeder Township, such as the Sugarloaf Road and the Kramer Road. Actually, Kramer Road got 3 separate sections because they identified very localized priorities for the upper Kramer Road, the mid Kramer Road, and the lower Kramer Road, just for example. Additionally, there was significant updates to the maps that accompany this plan. Kyle Oberg with the MIS department did a terrific job assisting us in supporting that land use committee with those improvements. And there's a little bit more of an emphasis in trying to protect the integrity of the neighborhood communities within the rural areas of Schroeder Township and to balance our land use decisions to reflect and respect those localized existing uses with the balancing of the gravel pits. As we all know, there's a lot of gravel pits up the Kramer Road. So it was a really wonderful experience, and there was a public hearing that was held by the Planning Commission on November 12th. We did not have anyone present to speak to it. Schroeder Township also held a couple of listening opportunities for the community, as well as every one of their meetings had opportunities for public comment. And with that, it was a unanimous recommendation by the Planning Commission to adopt this sub-area plan, which would be used as an assistance or as an addendum to our current Cook County Land Use Guide Plan for future land use decisions.
Thank you, Neva. Any questions for Neva?
Mr. Chair?
Comments?
I'd make a motion
Yes, please, Commissioner
to
Gamble.
approve the resolution to adopt the updated Schroeder Township sub-area plan.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion and support. Further discussion? would just say that I think it's very impressive, very, very appreciative of the planning. Particular interest to me these days is the Taconite Harbor area, and I think this will be valuable for our committee working with Stantec to understand kind of the zoning area and what opportunities there are and what restrictions there are. So I think this is very good timing. Anything else from anyone? Then I'll call the roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
White, aye.
Mills, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that moves us down to item 8, human resources. Start, of course, with 8A. This is the resolution to approve memorandum of agreement with CCEA. And then we also have B and C, which is the same thing, but with our other 2 bargaining units, LELS, as well as the local 49ers.
All right.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Just a question here as to procedure. These resolutions are as a result of the mandated requirement relative to the paid leave. And so my understanding in reviewing this, each resolution is for each bargaining group to update that so it's in compliance with the mandated requirement by the state. Are we able to make a motion that states that all 3 bargaining groups in that motion to approve the updated agreement, or do we need to do those individually?
Well, I believe we need 3 resolutions, but I believe you can make a motion to have all 3 resolutions in it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I would agree.
And Mr. Chair, then, is there anything that you wanted to say, Allison, to precipitate? All right, otherwise I would make a
Pretty
motion
much took
to
over and summed
Yeah.
it up. That's exactly.
make a motion
you.
to approve
Yes.
the memorandum of agreement with CCEA, LELS, and Local 49, the attached memorandum of agreement to the 2025-2026 collective bargaining agreements for each of these units. The memorandum addresses the Minnesota paid leave employer and employee premium contribution rates and other customizations negotiated and agreed upon that are not included in the original agreement.
Support.
Thank you. We have a motion and support. Was there some further discussion I heard? I just wanted to say, I'm very appreciative of the 3 bargaining units entering into this with us with the 50-50 split. I think this is indicative of our relationship with those bargaining units and the business agents. We've made significant effort towards strengthening those relationships and working with the bargaining units. And I think this is just a good example of what a good relationship can bring forth. And of course, when we enter negotiations again, it could be a change there, but considering the new mandate, I'm just really grateful for where we're starting. Anybody else? Then I would call for the roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
White, aye.
Mills, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, Allison, we have 2 other items that were pulled from the consent agenda. That would be F, and that's the hire for the public information coordinator, as well as H, which is the promotion of chief deputy investigator. If you I guess it was Commissioner White had questions about item F, and then Commissioner Gamble had questions about item H.
Yes, Commissioner White here. This is primarily community questions that just to have the answers public one more time. Why does the public information person that we are hiring, the information that is put out by this particular person, whomever, I mean, Todd did it before, is it, the question is it worth paying another person to do this when already we have department heads that do a really good job of sharing information? And that was the question. So perhaps it is not to you, Allison, but to the administrator.
Yes, Chair, if that's okay, I would like to respond. Yes, in my opinion, this position is absolutely necessary to ensure that we can continue to share as much information as possible with the public. Yes, some of the department heads do draft and write some of the materials, but this position is responsible for reviewing those, editing those, and getting them out to the public through our media relationships. This position was part of the strategic plan to be increased to a full-time position. I made the decision not to increase it to a full-time position, but instead to keep it as a 50% position with the hospital. The position is a joint agreement with the hospital, and 50% is for the hospital to keep the cost down, and because I believe that that relationship has been working really well with this position. We have, between Jana and I, we have been covering for this position over the last month since Todd has retired. It is a significant amount of work and not something that is sustainable if we weren't going to move forward with the position. So if we did not fill the position, the amount of information that we would be able to get out to the community would be decreased because we wouldn't have capacity to do so.
And if I may, and that it has been, since I've been on the board, an effort, not I didn't do this, but my personally is to get more information out to the community, to be transparent through all different avenues, because not everybody in this county is into social media. Not everyone gets the newspaper, not everyone listens to the radio, and so it's an effort to be transparent and as transparent as possible, which then means that the people getting this information, if they have questions, you do have a responsibility to get to the commissioners, good or bad, and tell us what you like or don't like, and because then we can respond. But if you don't know what's going on, and then we don't know how you are reacting when you do know what's going on, it's kind of not, it's not how it should be functioning. So, listen up, and I'll say for myself, give me a call. I'm in the book. Well, I'm online.
And
Well said, well said.
Chair Mills, if I can add one other comment, I would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Jana for all of the work that she has done over the last month. Like I mentioned, it has been an incredible lift for her to fill that position in addition to her other duties, and she's done an incredible job.
Here, here, thank you. Thank you,
Mr.
Jana.
Chair? Mr. Chair?
Yes, please, Commissioner
Yeah,
Gamble.
thank you. I would agree, restating the intent. County Administrator has represented, as well as Commissioner White, and the importance of informing public. And this is a commitment to do that. I think in our partnership and making efforts and statements that reinforce our intent and willingness to include public informed decisions. And the only way, just as commissioners, the only way we really can be good stewards in decision-making is to make informed decisions. And this is a commitment to be able to do that. I agree that the part-time relationship with the hospital is a workable one that balances the fiscal responsibility with that commitment to communicate to the public, so the public is aware of what decision makers are doing. So I affirm moving forward in this, with this position, with that stated intent.
Thank you, Commissioner Gamble. I agree with you there as well. I think that was very well stated.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the hire of Danielle Hefferan as the Public Information Coordinator with a pay grade of $160 and a pay rate of $30.46 per hour.
Okay, we have a motion. Is
I'll
there
support.
Thank you. We have a motion and support. Any further discussion?
Just to echo the appreciation that County Administrator has made to Jenna. She does a lot for us, and on top of it, that's appreciated. There's many things that we don't see that you do. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Gamble. Thank you, Jana, again. All right, I'll call for the roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
White, aye.
Mills, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And then we'll move on to item H. Commissioner Gamble, you had some questions.
Yeah,
there.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Two questions, basically, just wanting to understand this in context. I have obviously no issue with the promotion of Ben Hallberg in that position. My two questions is, what, given the pay grade of 210 with a base rate of 57.21, and then it says per hour plus longevity, what does this bring the hourly rate to when you consider the longevity? That's my first question. And the other is, just from a budgeting standpoint, how does the proposed rate compare to the retiring Chief Deputy Investigator?
So I have the answer to the first question easily pulled up, and then I'll look at the information for the second question. So Deputy Hallberg has been with the organization for at least 20 years, so he is receiving the highest rate for longevity, which is an additional 9% added onto the base rate. So if you're looking at a base rate of 57.21 plus the 9% longevity, it would equate to $62.36 per hour. Hold on, I just gotta bring up my HR system for. Currently, it looks like.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing Allison.
Sorry, I'm just kind of talking out my thoughts as I'm looking here. So currently, the retiring Chief Deputy Leif Lundy, his pay is currently lower than that, than what Deputy Hallberg will be paid. So there would be an increase in compensation from the current incumbent of about $4 per hour.
Okay, and a follow-up question to that is, I would assume that Leif has been, in that department for more than 20 years. But that is the maximum when you're looking at the longevity. So it must be that the position has been rescored, which is why you're seeing the difference between what was paid in the position prior to what is proposed for the new hire.
There are a lot of variables that would affect someone's pay. So it's not necessarily an apples to apples comparison between Leif and Ben. They've been with the department, I believe, for more than 20 years. So they're both receiving that longevity, but their movement within the organization steps change, positions have been regraded, Ben's transitioned between deputy jail administrator back to deputy, now back to jail administrator up. So all of those different internal changes affect the step 2, that as people transition within positions, they don't necessarily keep the same step. So it's really difficult to actually say why there's differences in their step without actually plotting back the history of all of their individual changes.
Okay, so basically, when we look at the effects on the budget going into 2026 with this change and promotion, we're looking at probably roughly around $10,000 additional in the budget. So,
And I would, I guess, defer to Sheriff Eliason as to they
yeah,
draft
yeah,
their
it
own
just
budget.
looking at budget effect.
Yes, it'd be approximately $10,000. As it would affect the overall budget, it would not, because we are down 5 staff right now. And we don't anticipate it being full staff till at least next June. So
Yeah.
for 6 months with the other savings of if the payroll would impact that $10,000 increase.
Yeah. I can appreciate that from the standpoint, I mean, we look at different departments and sometimes what we're saying, the effect of increase in one area is compensated by the fact that we aren't, in full position. I recently saw a very large ad for St. Louis County, so I don't think we're alone in trying to find staff in those areas. Given the climate for law enforcement, there's things that are making it challenging to find people that want to step into that role of responsibility and risk. But I would say that having that understanding is beneficial, but if we're full up in every area here with increasing in multiple, we see, the effects of how that increases budget. And to Mr. Cole's point, we have to look at these things from the standpoint of understanding how do we stem the flow of growth with the available funds that we have to support governance locally. So this is the reason for the question, is just understanding. I have no problem with Ben stepping into that role. It's just looking at it from the fiscal standpoint, so we as decision makers know how these dollars affect levy overall. So I appreciate the discussion. With that, I'd make a motion to approve the promotion of Ben Hallberg as Chief Deputy Investigator with a pay grade of 210, base rate of $57.21 per hour plus longevity. I'll leave it at that.
Now support?
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and support. Any further discussion there?
The only thing I would say is that the information that helps us to make informed decisions on these things that come before us, it would be nice to see the gross of that. In other words, $57.21 per hour plus longevity. If we could see what that actually translates, the $62.36 that you referenced, that would help us to know total impact. So.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Then I'll do a roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
White eye.
Mills, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, all. And it is now after 9 o'clock, so we can move on to the public comment period for the body-worn camera program by the Sheriff's Office.
Commissioner Mills, I have a question before.
Yes, please.
I'm just curious as to whom is videotaping us. It's, no. I mean, I haven't been
It's a
videotaped
waving hand.
by the public since school board times, so I was just wondering if you're part of MIS or,
No, it looks like he's got a WDIO hat on.
I can't see that from here. How have we been behaving? Now I'm concerned. Okay, thank you. You have a name, please?
Yes, I'm Ethan Sherman. I'm the morning photographer for WDIO, and I was saying here for the public comment that you're all about to do, so
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for coming, Ethan.
happy to be here.
Commissioner Mills, were you able to hear that?
No,
Okay, so we have a representative from WDIO.
Yeah.
Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Here to record the public comment.
okay, thank you. So with that, I'll open the public comment. Would anyone like to come and speak on this topic?
We have nobody.
Chair Mills, there's no one here to speak on that.
All right, we have received some written comments that Sheriff Eliason has shared, and I appreciate those. I think by and large, I think they're all in support of this policy. Has anyone heard any concerns from the public regarding the policy?
Commissioner Mills, just for those that don't have the agenda in front of them, the policy is body-worn cameras for our law enforcement people. It's just for the listening public, so.
Thank you. Yep. This is the body-worn camera policy and related to public safety here.
And I, as Commissioner White, I've heard nothing but, well, why wouldn't we if we could? So, it's been positive.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Mills, Mr. Chair, I have also had very positive comments and have had a chance to look at our policy and compare it to other communities, other counties throughout Minnesota. Looked at Sherburne County, looked at Otter Tail County, a number that came on earlier, and I really appreciate the good work that has been put into this, and I'm very excited to move forward with this. I think it's going to be a real positive change for us.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Okay. Oh, yes, please, Commissioner Campbell.
Yeah, I would just say that we can see an increasing number of law enforcement using this, and it's a matter of providing the truth of what is happening as we carry out our responsibilities in law enforcement. It is a protection for the public and a protection for those that service in law enforcement. And when it comes down to questions which can be very emotional in this area of law enforcement, that it's good to take the subjectivity out of it and to represent what in fact is true. And so I think our commitment as a community, and I think that's why there's been support, and that's why we see many law enforcement agencies moving towards this, is protection for both those that serve us and for the public to know that in fact we serve you well.
And I would also add, kind of to build on Commissioner Gamble's comments, that this reduces civil liability. I'm sure that our county attorney is well aware of that. But these devices document citizen and officer behavior. They help to capture evidence, and they've been shown to reduce civilian complaints and enhance accountability. So I think we look forward to that.
Absolutely. Well, very good then. Without any further comments, I'm going to close the public comment period, and we can move on to item 5A, which is the approval of the implementation of the policy.
Mr. Chair,
Sheriff Eliason. Oh, yes, please.
I'd like to approve by motion the body-worn camera policy for the Cook County Sheriff's Office.
Very good, thank you. We have a motion. Is there
My
support?
turn. I support.
Thank you, Commissioner White. We have a motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing or seeing none, do the roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
White, aye.
Mills, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pat, for the work on this.
Mr. Chair, too, I would like to acknowledge that at our November 12th meeting, we had requested that our sheriff provide for us the financials so that we could be able to see what the investment is initially and ongoing costs. and that was provided, and appreciate that. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
I think Pat
All right.
wants to say
Yes.
something to us.
I do, thank you all for the motion and the vote. I also want to thank County Attorney Peterson for all of the hard work she did on this. I want to thank Ben Hallberg, I want to thank Leif Lundy, I want to thank my two sheriff's technicians back here, Britta Moose and Elsa Lundy. Without all of them, this would have never come to fruition, so I want to make sure that they got the recognition that they deserve.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good teamwork. Go team. All right, now we'll move on to item 9A, Auditor. It's the County Commissioner salary and schedule for diems.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there's no action requested today, although you could take action. This is just to remind you that the board has to make a decision on their own salary and per diems prior to the end of the year for any change to take effect in the following year. And that's by statute. And beyond that, our Office of State Auditors recommends that we just take a proactive stance on this. Whether you're making no change, do that also by resolution. So whatever happens before the end of the year, to take that action. And then I added in the packet, just to show you the resolution from last year that you approved on December 17th. And at that time, you decided to use the Consumer Price Index for the year. Last year, it was 2.6%. And with that background, I'll just ask any questions. Otherwise, we can move on.
Well, I had an opportunity to review that, and I also looked up the Consumer Price Index, which we have been using for a few years, and it's right around 3% currently. So I'm thinking when we get to our meetings in December that we should consider continuing with that Consumer Price Index so that we don't fall behind as we have done in the past. And also that we consider keeping our per diems the same. I believe we're going to have a reduction in some committees, which will be some savings to our overall budget. But anyway, I really appreciate you bringing forward this item, Brady, and look forward to taking action in December.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions right now?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Gamble, I would just say that decisions that affect each of us as commissioners, with Commissioner Storley not being present, I think that motion would be best, in best scenario, to include all commissioners when we do take that vote.
Good point. Thank you. One thing I would want to add is, and again, I shouldn't say again, this is not anything that I'm passionate about, I would say, but I do think it would be wise to use an average for the CPI to try to give it a more level amount, whether that's a 3-year average or a 5-year, I don't know, but I think it would be beneficial for budgeting, as well as leading by example for collective bargaining units. I'm really pushing for that rather than trying to follow it direct. The CPI I'm talking about directly. That would coincide with the length of our agreements, potentially with bargaining units. But again, it's nothing I feel very strongly about, but I am very happy that we're looking at the CPI because it is data that we can use to help us make decisions. So. All right, if there's nothing else, we can move on to item 9B, which is legal newspaper bid.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is asking for a motion to advertise for bids for legal newspapers, to run legal notices in 2026. And I'm asking to set the date and time to receive bids as December 23rd at 2 p.m. So we annually do this from qualified newspapers to publish our notices. We've only had one qualified newspaper for many, many years. We had two a long time ago. But it's not easy to be a qualified newspaper. They can be outside of the county, but the main qualifications are, not getting into the technical detail, but that how much advertising they have versus news, and they have to be covering our meetings already. So you probably already know the answer, because I don't know anyone who is doing that currently. So, but it could change at some point. So.
Yeah, it's not easy to be a newspaper, let alone a qualified newspaper.
Yeah, I mean, this day and age, yeah.
So a question would be, if we are receiving bids up till December 23rd, could we take action at our organizational meeting in January?
That's what we normally do, yes.
All right. Just wanted to make sure we're looking at the same time frame as we've done before. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
So basically, this is a compliance issue. We go through this formality,
Yes.
but we know inevitably what it is.
Yeah.
We can put it out there, and if in fact it's giving an opportunity, so we're not making an assumption that because it's always been, it will continue to be, because somebody else could
Right.
step up and say, and so we do this for two reasons, basically the compliance, and if something does change, that we can look at it from a fiscal standpoint to see if there might be any savings in regard to
Right.
to this. So I would make a motion to approve the advertising for bids from legal newspapers for the cost of legal notices in 2026, and set the date and time to receive bids as of December 23rd, 2025 at 2 p.m.
And I'll support.
Thank you. We have a motion from Commissioner Gamble and a second from Commissioner Sullivan. Any further discussion there? Hearing or seeing none, I'll do the roll call vote, please.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye?
White eye.
Mills, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. And then this moves us down to our administrator section, administrator updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Today I thought I would just update us on where we're at with the law enforcement construction project, as well as the transfer station in Grand Marais. So starting with the law enforcement center, 2/3 of the knee walls are now completed. The water barrier is installed on that section of footings and knee wall. Drain tile and backfilling is starting today on the same completed section. We're planning on pouring the last section of the knee wall on Wednesday, but that could be pushed to Monday because, of course, the storm that's coming in. Structures and piping for the storm sewer and sanitary sewer are going in next week. We have provided a couple news releases and will continue to do that so that the community is aware of what's happening with that project. So it's going really well. The transfer station is also going very well. The contractor is currently trying to get the entire site to final grade with Class 5 gravel before freeze up. The bar joist installation is almost completed in the upper section. Installation of the roof decking could start as early as Wednesday, and of course all of this is dependent on the storm that may be coming through as well, but the goal is to get the roof on as soon as possible so that the building can be heated to complete the internal work that needs to happen. The internal work will be focused on the plumbing and the electrical after the building is heated. And Dustin from North Shore Waste has also offered tours for any of the commissioners that are interested in going out there. I went out about a week and a half ago, and it was very interesting to see the status of the construction and just to walk through the complete process with him. So he's more than happy to do that if you're interested. So all in all, everything is going very well with those two projects. And that's all I have today.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask a follow-up question on that.
Please.
When we set out on this project and our timeline and things, I know there's always delays and stuff. So the one thing is that moving into the winter, how do those that are facilitating this process feel about where we're at with winter coming?
Yeah, so we have a meeting that I take part in every other Wednesday. And they talk about where we're at with the project, concerns about weather and anything that might be causing any particular delay. And so far during those meetings, everything has been very positive in terms of the timeline. So I'm anticipating that we'll have additional discussions as we move into winter, and things may be delayed at times due to that, but right now everything looks very good.
Good, thank you.
Great. Any other questions for Administrator Treble? Okay. Well, that moves us on to employee concerns / commissioner concerns, commissioner reports, meeting updates. Just like to start with Commissioner Sullivan and go around if we would.
Surely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Had an opportunity to attend the Cook County Coalition of Lake Association meeting couple weeks back, and one of the things they are doing is they've expanded their membership, so a lake association can join, but they are also offering family and individual memberships, and primarily for a lot of the education they provide, so that's a great opportunity for anyone in Cook County to get involved. We had our community leadership meeting about a week and a half ago, and one of the great things that came out of that is that we are looking at a shared leadership model, that no longer is it going to be just the county leading those meetings and planning those meetings, but we're moving to shared leadership and have signed up for the remaining, or all 6 meetings that are in 2026. So our January community leadership meeting will be held by North Shore Hospital. And North Shore Health will be hosting that event, and we'll be getting out agendas to all our community leaders. But I think that's a really, really positive move. The Cook County Invasive team met last week and did kind of a review of projects. Commissioner White was there with me as well. And one of the things we want to make sure the public is aware of and looking for is spotted knapweed. We have quite a bit of it in Cook County. People can think, oh, invasives, no big deal, they're just plants. I want to share with you that spotted knapweed kind of invaded a septic mound in the West End, and they have very, very deep roots that ruin the septic system. And the property owner had to spend $60,000 to remove their old septic and replace it with a new one because of spotted knapweed. So please, take a look, make sure that you're watching and monitoring your property so that you know what kind of plants are on there. And if you have questions, you can contact Tia Parks, who's with our highway department. She and Abby Prom do a great job of working on terrestrial invasive species. We had the grand opening of the Heights, the Bluff unit, which is right on Highway 61. Last Wednesday. It was very similar, the ribbon cutting and the groundbreaking were very similar because it was raining and it was cold. But anyway, it was really exciting to go through the studio, 1 and 2 bedroom, to look at how spacious they feel with those 9-foot ceilings, and just really nice to see more options available for housing here in Cook County. On Thursday, we had our highway advisory meeting. We talked a little bit about a policy, just a draft that they're working on for making sure that we have access to our towers. We have armor towers scattered throughout Cook County. They're really important for our bus drivers, for the county highway department, for emergency management, and so more to come on that in the future. And we also talked a little bit about subordinate governmental service districts. We've been getting some information and feedback from those groups. We had an airport advisory committee on Thursday evening and reviewed our 5010 report, which comes from MnDOT Aeronautics. Brady and the airport manager and I and the airport president will be meeting with MnDOT Aeronautics, hopefully within the next week, to review that report. And then we also talked a little bit about electric aviation, and we participated, some of us, in a webinar that was put on by the University of Minnesota. And just good reminders about our master plan and things we need to be really mindful of as the 20-year plan rolls out in increments, that we need to make sure that we're providing for battery storage for electric aircraft, that we have the appropriate electric infrastructure in place, and that we also consider solar opportunities to capture free electricity and to build that into our system. And in previous years, the airport did look at putting solar panels on airport property. It didn't work out at that time, but it is something that we'll continue to look at over the next 20 years as we implement that master plan in stages. And then the last announcement came out of the Cook County Historical Society. And the Cook County Historical Society is taking ownership of the blacksmith shop. The county has owned that for a number of years, but they voted at their meeting last Thursday to take that property over. And so we want to congratulate them on that, and that will give them opportunities for grants. Now that they own the property, they'll have a much better opportunity to get grant dollars to do improvements on that property. So with that, I will pass it on to Commissioner Gamble.
Thank you, Commissioner Sullivan. I'd have a question with regard to the blacksmith shop. That is, decisions relative to anything that is done there is regulated by Minnesota Historical Society.
Correct.
And so that will continue in that relationship. How that affects us financially, I don't know. In other words, many of the decisions that we make relative to budget are because we own the buildings. So in this case, it'd be interesting, don't need to know now, but it'd be interesting to see if that has, what effect that has at all on the budget.
Absolutely, and I
Yeah.
think that's a really good point, because one of the things I think about when I'm looking at our budget for 2026 and in the future is what properties do we have, whether it be land or buildings or whatever, that maybe we don't need to be taking care of, or, that aren't really in the wheelhouse of county government.
Right. And I think alignment is a big thing that we need to look at. I think we're looking at that with the subordinate districts. It's a matter of stepping back and looking at things and evaluating in the context of what are we responsible for. It's not abdicating responsibility. It's being sure that we're looking at it and understanding based upon priorities and what best serves, the public. I think the other thing that we've underscored in this discussion is we're not abandoning people. We will come alongside and help in every way that we can, but we have to make some hard decisions that demonstrate our stewardship responsibility of our resources, which are limited.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for that report. I attended the hospital board meeting, which I do monthly, and primary focus, other than the financials, which they're doing better this year than they were in last year in 2024. So they're seeing improvements. Some of that is because of the ability to charge things in a different context than they did before, which is due to meeting with the legislature and basically advocating for the ability to do this. But the primary focus was on cultural change. And so they're doing an evaluation primarily with leadership at this point. And so there was a report that was presented by the individual that is facilitating this process to show the perceptions of culture at the hospital. And I always affirm directions that understand the foundational nature of organizations so that we can be better in supporting our staff and the community because we create healthy cultures that are productive. Also attended Arrowhead Corrections, and probably the shortest meeting I've ever attended there. They said there's one particular commissioner from St. Louis that tends to ask a lot of questions, and they told me when we started the meeting, if I could button my lip, we could probably get out here real quick. So we got out in 45 minutes, not that that's our intention, but it was very hard to button my lip because there were some questions that could be answered, but the good thing that moving forward into the Association Minnesota Counties is that we will have a presence there. And we've been talking about that, looking for opportunities to serve the counties with not only within the state, and perimeter states, Wisconsin and the Dakotas, whatever, so that our facilities can provide services to a broader community. And in talking to that, we suggested that they talk to AMC. So we are on the agenda for that presentation coming up here in December. And so that's great. If you look at the statistical numbers, we see that numbers are declining. That's a good thing from the standpoint of if it means that there's less crime. It's if you're a facility built to address crime, it's a challenging thing from the financial standpoint because your revenues support your operations. I think there's a number of things that contribute to that, and part of that is restorative justice. Some of it is other things that we've done that means that being incarcerated or having to be committed to a time where you're away and you're going through programming, that's lessened some of that burden. But the staff is very aggressive in trying to understand the whys so that they, again, can provide the quality services to reduce recidivism and to manage the resource of their facilities so that we can maybe reach a broader audience and therefore generate revenues. So always a good meeting, even though it was short.
Well, I didn't do anything other than what the other two have done. The Cook County Invasive Species meeting, a big question that I had in thinking about that, there's a lot of use of herbicides. I mean, maybe not a lot of use, but and my question is, how does that impact our soil and water? Because it's being sprayed on the upside of Lake Superior or at the mouths of rivers. And so it's just rather scary to me that we're spraying herbicides around our water sources. So, particularly MnDOT, who they spray Roundup on the highway, on the shoulders. And there is a class action lawsuit at this point against Roundup. So that was unnerving. The Highway Department was a very good meeting. And when you talk about the Arrowhead corrections place, and I've asked you, Attorney Peterson, last year that there were no inmates or occupants, no one from Cook County was sent to this facility, and I'm just curious as to what are we doing because we pay a membership to help support this. And then when we send someone there for treatment in a holding cell for waiting for trial, whatever it is, then there's an additional charge. And by their figures, we have sent no one there in 2024. So where are they? And to your question, I should have asked when Sheriff Eliason was here, do we not have crime anymore? which I don't believe that, but, you know, like, why? What are we doing that's right, that's going to bankrupt this place? So that was about it. And then,
Thank you.
and then to, I still call it joint powers, but the community leadership group, way back when, it always was a rotating hosting of the event, and I do remember being at the hospital way back when and seeing, it was when the facility was newer, and there was this great big room, so I think it's great that the different entities will be hosting, putting their own flavor on it and changing the scenery for all of us. That's it.
Thank you. My updates, well, I ran away quickly from our committee of the whole to try to get to the photo op at the ribbon cutting for the gymnasium, but I walked in the door as they were taking the picture, so that didn't work. I both exited our meeting early and missed the other one, so that was too bad. But I did get a chance to catch up with some people there, particularly Jeremy Kachuba and Alex, who will be leaving. I got to have a little more personal chat with him, just where he was at and where he's going and all that. So I was just a small trying to make up for missing things. But beyond that, EDA meeting, a lot of work being done by the North Shore Development Company, which I've touched on before. Really grateful for that. Got our schedule, working with them to look for our new EDA director, and that'll be rolling out in the first part of next year. First quarter of next year if all goes well. Also looking at impacts of the small business, the small business development grants, and then also just talking about different ways we can structure things because of the services that North Shore Development Company offers as far as administrative functions. While the EDA was going through its strategic planning, one of the bottlenecks that we're seeing is just having an organization that is one deep. I'm sure the HRA is having discussions like that as well. And so it kind of takes away from what a director could and should be doing if they're doing the everythings, all the smaller tasks, all the administrative tasks, minutes, scheduling, everything. And so trying to leverage North Shore Development Company to help with that and allowing and giving space for a director to do more. That being said, there could be opportunity for more integration within the business community, and maybe doing a more concerted effort towards our small businesses locally, particularly with different organizations like Small Business Development, SBDC, as well as Northland Foundation and Entrepreneur Fund, and I mean there's a plethora of different organizations along that slant that hoping to integrate a little bit more into the organization. Let's see, also had the first pre-conference subcommittee for AMC, which is the general government. And there was, 18 different amendments we're trying to go through, and we'll have a second meeting just to try to go into more depth and to cover more of them. Two of them that stuck out to me that, most of them were kind of like, yeah, that makes sense. It seemed kind of obvious and just kind of those update sort of things. There's a couple, though, that really stood out to me that I wanted to share with this board. One seems to be an effort, and I should back up a little bit and say it wasn't entirely clear how much support there is for this because most of it was being pushed by one county, but there just wasn't a whole lot of time for discussion. But the two items are nuclear power facilities as well as data centers, both of which are very large conversations, very sensitive conversations, very controversial. There's a whole lot more to learn about it. The nuclear topic was more about like micro nuclear reactors, which I guess are as small as, say, a semi-trailer. And there had been a moratorium in Minnesota, and now I guess that is lifted. And my question is, well, why was it there in the first place? Has that been addressed? And it doesn't seem like it has been addressed. There have been technological advances. At this point, I believe they're all theoretical. I don't know that they've been put into practice. I learned a little bit there about the different grades of nuclear waste. There are countries or counties that buy nuclear waste to extract more nuclear power out of it. But in my mind, very, very limited knowledge of anything nuclear. Commissioner Slauson had a lot of experience there, so he could probably speak more to it. But my question is, well, so what do we do with the nuclear waste? Assuming it's safe to use nuclear power, because nuclear waste literally lasts forever. And so when we're making decisions, and the decisions are forever decisions and radioactive decisions, it makes me really uncomfortable. And so I would want to learn a whole lot more about that before I gave it any support. But the answer I received is like, well, we just hang on to the nuclear waste until the feds kind of figure out their repository. Well, that's kind of been the answer for many, many, many years, and there hasn't been any movement there. So, yeah, it gave me the willies. And then on the data centers, of course, we're familiar with kind of some of the conversations in St. Louis County, and so that was a pretty controversial conversation. And the big push for the data centers is the tax revenue, because they can be very large and provide a lot of taxes. My limited research on the topic raises concerns about the infrastructure required for the data centers, and as well as environmental impacts. So environmental impacts aside, what I've read is, sure, the tax base can increase significantly with these data centers. However, Arrowhead Electric and the PUC, they have their base rate that everybody pays regardless of how much power they use. And that base rate is, to my understanding, there to support the infrastructure. So if a data center needs substantially more infrastructure, then all of the members who are paying in that system will be paying a much higher base rate. And that's kind of the pushback that I've been hearing from across the country. But also saw an article recently saying, if you're trying to escape data centers, there might be one state that's safe, and it was Minnesota, because of our regulatory hurdles, which I hear criticism for at times, but also in this case, it seems like it's a good protection. And so it's just really interesting to kind of start learning more about that, and there will be more to come, and I am certain we'll hear more about it at the annual conference and beyond. So to be continued there. Also,
Commissioner
the library
Mills?
board meeting. Yes, please.
If I can just add one piece of information for the commissioners about the conversation around nuclear power. This did come up with, at my regional county administrator meeting a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
And one of the administrators, we talked about, information that was going to be provided to commissioners, and we discussed asking AMC to do a webinar. So to your point, to make sure that everyone is educated on kind of the pros and cons and issues surrounding this. So I don't know where that landed, but one of the administrators was going to reach out and share that feedback with AMC.
Thank you. Yeah, it was probably the same county that is kind of pushing it in the general government, I would guess. So, but yeah, we definitely need more information. And part part of the conversation really rubbed me the wrong way because when I asked about nuclear waste, the response also included, well, what about wind turbine waste and solar panel waste? And I mean, because there's issues with those, for sure. But, I mean, come on. Compared to nuclear waste, it's like apples and,
Turnips.
Volkswagens. It's not even like oranges, it's just a whole nother, it's way different. So, it was a little bit alarming, but, I couldn't get a good read on the whole group, but I think, we have to trust our Minnesota values and our counties and just advocate for what our community believes. So,
Commissioner Mills?
yes.
To that end, you do know we have nuclear-powered submarines that run everything for decades from the nuclear reactor. And then I believe it's in the Nordic states, like Scandinavian states across the ocean, that they do have smaller nuclear facilities that run their countries. So it's not we all remember, well, maybe not you, you're younger, but we all remember 5 Mile Island, 3 Mile Island, those things, the meltdowns, the fear that there was. But the technology, as I understand it, has greatly improved. And we don't even know about it because everyone as in the industry, hands off at this point. But there are many innovations but indeed, as you say, the what do you do with the remains? Like, you can't, how, even if you say, well, we'll bury it 20 miles into the ground, well, something could happen. Like, something could always happen. So, yes.
Yeah, it's literally always there then. But could that be a target for terrorism or blah, blah, blah? Your imagine can run wild. I appreciate that. They also mentioned that the Navy's been using it for 75 years. Then it's like, well, what do you do with the waste still? That was also shared that there have been technological improvements, but again, the little research that I've done have shown they're all theoretical. It is being used, and it is a carbon-free power source, but then it's also a radioactive power source. So, yeah, a lot of ins and outs. I'm very curious. That's what I told them. I said, well, I'm approaching this very cautiously, but I'm very curious, so please bring on more information so I can learn, and love to learn about the Scandinavian countries as well and what to do. But another argument they had for both data centers and nuclear power was our climate. In Minnesota, being a colder climate, I guess supposedly it's ideal for everything, except for gardening and farming, which may be more directly related to our health. But yeah, much more to come on that, I'm sure. And then at the library board meeting, we looked doing a library review for the year and review just kind of the board members' feedback and hopes for the next year. And there's been a lot of turnover at the library, and so my hope was that we could really hone in on building a stronger culture there and doing a lot more team building and trying to address any concerns that staff may have, and that fit into our strategic plan from the last round too. So I'm trying to touch on all the little issues within the strategic plan. I think that's probably all I have to share today. Any other questions or thoughts from anyone?
Mr. Chair, relative to the library, and Brady can confirm this, and I sat on the library board in my first term, but my understanding is that the library budget as presented to us each year, that if it falls under 5%, it's an automatic unless we challenge it. And so what we have done is we have created a structure that allows growth without the accountability. I say that respectfully, but let's just say that when you tie something to an automatic, it goes on this automatic pilot and it will continue to grow, whether it needs to grow or not. There is an assumption that obviously things need to grow, therefore we need more money, but efficiencies and evaluation are part of process, and that's a discipline. So unless we as commissioners say, justify the increase and we evaluate it, we're just on automatic pilot for a 5% increase each year. So.
Yeah, no, yeah, thank you. That's spot on. But you know, you can guess what wages have done every year, as well as cost of books. So, you know, I think 5% is pretty modest, but I hear your point that if it's just automatic, then there's not necessarily a hard look at the increases or the changes in the costs. And so there have been some savings because of turnover, but we all know the costs of turnover are usually higher than the whatever we're looking at in the interim. So, yeah, I think so far the library's been pretty modest, and hopefully it won't grow more than it needs to, as you say. Always want to support it because the community uses it like nothing else. The kids in there, the seniors in there, low-income people who maybe don't have a computer, need computer access, all that. A lot of really valuable services, and you know, literacy is an extremely important part of community health, just so that we can be more informed and better critical thinkers. Anything else from anyone? Well, we have a whole slew of upcoming meetings. I will not read them all, but they are attached to our agenda. We also have our correspondence and memos, which is sales tax comparison, and just as a reference, looks like about sales tax collections were up 5% from the previous year, so take that for what it's worth. Previous years have been, let's see, 2019 was 10%, 2020 was minus 6.7%, 2021 was 32, almost 33, 2022 is 5.8, then 4.8, then minus 6.8, and then 5. So lots of ups, a few downs, and here we are. Next item, if there is nothing else, we'll pause here. We're adjourned. Thank you for participation and your flexibility, and I hope you have a safe and wonderful holiday.
Thank you.
You as well, thank you.
Thanks for serving as our chair today.
Travel
Oh, my
safely.
pleasure.
Nice job.
How are you coming with getting, oh, are we off?
I think so. Are you still there, Commissioner Mills?
No,
I
I came off the computer, but I'm on my phone.